Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to a new video. Hope you guys are enjoying that. We're trying to constantly post at least one video a week. So thank you guys for watching this video and let's get right into it. So right off the bat, I was thinking, yo, we've really never done a real build breakdown on my pro drift car, the S15. And I was like, yeah, it'd be cool to do, but maybe let's do it a little bit different. So what we're actually gonna do today is do a comparison video of a street S15 versus a pro drift S15 and show you guys all the differences between the two and them being the same car. So obviously they're both S15s. We got Jay's S15 that he just got. Is a beautiful, beautiful car. Super stoked to have it here. It's a 1999 S15 Spec R. And then we have my car, which is a little beat up, battered and bruised, but this is my 2000 Silvia S15. I believe it was a Spec R. I don't really know. We customized the whole thing, so it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. But let's get right into it. So how we're gonna kick this off is we are actually just gonna focus on Jason's car first, because this is how you would have gotten an S15 from factory back in the day. So we'll go over everything with his car and we'll jump over to my car and show you the big differences between the two. So right away, we're starting out with the exterior. This is a beautiful Spec R, and it's this gorgeous silver color that Jason just told me is called pewter for all you purists out there. Personally, I don't give a shit. It looks silver, so cool, but it's called pewter, so awesome. Looks gorgeous. It's probably super easy to keep clean. I mean, I always do black cars. I always kick myself in the butt, but I think they look sick. But silver is awesome because it always looks clean. But without going on a tangent, awesome, awesome, beautiful looking S15 headlights. You can never mess those up. They always look great. OEM, don't have to do nothing to them. Beautiful. Spec R bumper and body kit all the way around. Brand new. Was put on this car before Jason bought it and got a brand new paint job. So it is looking super clean, no blemishes, looks freaking great. And also he's got some aftermarket 18-inch wheels from Advan that look really good, along with some good tires. He said that driving it has been awesome. So obviously you're starting to see that this is just a really nicely set up street car. Go out, have fun, take it for a stroll, do some content with it, whatever you want. Hop in this thing and go, have a blast. S15s are amazing for that. Working our way to the back, you got the Spec R wing with a built-in third brake light. And then he's also got some aftermarket D-Max taillights. They got a little bit of smoke on them. They're in that 50-50 stack LED setup. I know he was saying that he wants to switch over to a different headlight just because he's not a huge fan of the smoke. I mean, sounds like Jason don't want the smoke, but whatever. So I think they look great for right now, but I know having that crystal clear LED taillight setup, that always looks really sick. But like I'm saying, this thing is just completely gorgeous. You got an aftermarket exhaust that's popping out. You got the dual tips. Thing's loud as hell. Cool little carbon trim right over the top so you're not burning your bumper. And then you see again that Spec R trim at the bottom. All in all, just a gorgeous car. And then one thing I'm gonna say, the cool little things that they've done is they deleted the rear wiper on the rear windshield. And that's really cool because honestly, I never think to myself, man, I wish I had a rear windshield wiper to get the water off of my windshield. It looks so much better. You get rid of that shit, put a sticker over it, looks great. And then the one thing that I'm super jealous of Jason's car for is that it is a slick top roof. There is no sunroof. That's always so awesome when you're building a race car. One thing is rigidity. The other thing is the seals go bad and it starts leaking over time. Just something you don't really want to deal with, or at least I don't want to deal with. Maybe some of you guys like it, I don't. So my car actually has a hole in the roof because there used to be a sunroof. So I'm a little bit jealous of Jason's car for that. But all in all, from the outside, gorgeous car. Complete 10 out of 10. And also I went with him to go pick this thing up, and it is by far the cleanest S15 I've ever seen. We found maybe one little piece of surface rust, and it's probably about that big. All right, so now that is the exterior of Jason's car, let's head over to my little monster and show you what that thing's got going on. So right off the bat, yes, it looks like an S15. They look so similar, but yet they're so different. Right off the bat, got the beautiful S15 headlights in the front. I got a little demon eye thing that we got from Origin. It looks pretty cool. I like it. Aggressive front styling. We have the really awesome super black gloss from Nosatech wrap all over the whole thing. It's my favorite color I've ever used, and the fact that it's wrap and still looks like paint, big ups to Nosatech for that. But the one thing I will say is like 90% of the S15, my S15, is pretty much just fiberglass or carbon fiber. The hood, carbon, everything else pretty much fiberglass. Bumpers, you know, fenders, doors, everything. So let's go through that. Right off the bat, we have the Aero kit, which is from Origin Lab. This is their Drift line kit. We started using it last year. I think it's super aggressive looking. I really love it. And it's just been a really nice add-on to my car. We got a Sabon hood. They don't make it anymore, unfortunately. I really wish I had a million of these stockpiled up because I break them and I have to fix them. Couple extra holes drilled into the hood because we try to get as much heat out of the engine compartment as possible during a drift day. Coming down the side, I have my Origin front fenders. These are 75 mil wider than a stock fender. So big difference there because we have such wide front track width for all that angle. So moving on down, we got our S15 doors, but they're a little different because they're just skins and they're made of fiberglass. So they're super flexible, really good for drifting because it's a contact sport. You bump into it, it deflects it, or, you know, just doesn't get all dented and damaged. Maybe a little rips and tears, but it's fixable because it's fiberglass. We've got the drift line side skirt, again, looking good. And then we got these really cool mirrors that I got last year from EVS or Evasive. Carbon fiber mounted to the door, looking super slick, and I can actually see out of them compared to the Gannon doors that I used to have that looked really cool, but didn't work at all for me. One big difference between my car and Jason's car is all the glass that would be on his car is replaced on mine with Lexan. So we got Lexan front windshield, side windows, quarter glass, and rear glass. And the only thing custom that we did was we made the side windows ourselves, and we cut them out for the little slider, AKA my burrito window. Moving on back, as you guys saw, like as we're going through, we still have 18-inch wheels. We got big meaty tires on them for all that grip. We are going to be switching to a smaller tire for Pro Spec this year, so it might look a little bit different. Hell, this whole car is probably going to look a little bit different in you know, the coming weeks. But in the back, we got our LFC panels. They're made by 2F Performance. This is a fiberglass replacement for the entire back half of the car. So this whole entire back piece with the taillights and all comes off as one piece, and there's pretty much nothing behind it from factory. We basically cut the car off right here. The reason why we do that is because these cars, like I said, contact sport, whether we're bumping into another car or we're riding the walls. So we want to make sure that there's space back here that if we bump into something, we're not bending up a bunch of factory metal that we got to go back into, straighten up and fix. So it's a really big time saver and weight saver by getting rid of all that factory metal, replacing it with fiberglass. All the way in the back, I have D-Max LED taillights as well. One of them didn't match. This style taillight is actually very similar to Jason's, and I didn't like that they were different, so I actually wrapped it in vinyl. But have a cool little lip spoiler here on the trunk. Really nice and stylish. Has to be lightweight because the trunk itself, yet again, fiberglass. Very thin, can't put anything heavy on it. Just makes it really easy. Rear bumper, still the drift line kit from Origin, but what I do is I cut the whole thing in half because, yet again, this thing's built to ride walls. We don't want the bumper to shatter into a million pieces or just have a bunch of material there that's just gonna get smacked up. So for me, it's easier just cut in half. Not that much to deal with. It's lighter. There's more space to get under the back of the car if we ever have to work on it. And yeah, I think it looks pretty cool too. You could kind of see my crash bars that we'll get into later. But all in all, the outside of my car compared to Jason's car is just, one, it's got the durability in mind when it comes to drifting because we do beat on these cars so much. And if you guys have known me for a while, you know this car has gone through its fair share of crashes. But along with that, it is a little bit more aggressive looking. We do try to add a stylish aspect to it along with the function of it. You know, it's got to be wider for the wheels and tires or the track width. And honestly, I love this car. One little thing I did forget though. We have a little roof spoiler here, and then the giant hole in the roof that I was telling you guys about before. This is the sunroof hole that we had. We weren't gonna put a sunroof back in it, so we put a carbon fiber panel right here, and then we sealed it with the wrap. I don't really like how it looks, but the one thing that I do have that I've been waiting to install is a complete carbon fiber skin that goes over this whole thing. So maybe we'll do that in the future to get rid of this giant hole. But as you guys can see, even though they're both S15s, they do look a little similar. They're pretty different. My car's looking a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more functional for the racing that we do with it. But again, they're both beautiful. Now, if I forgot anything that you were asking, that you want to know about the car or the exterior of it, just ask me in the comments, because you know, sometimes we forget things, and I'll answer any questions that you have in the comments. Let's jump into the next part that I think is pretty exciting. We're going to go over the drivetrains of both of them, and we're going to start with Jason's car. So the one thing I like the most about Jason's car is that you don't have to do much with the S15. Back in the day when they made this car, you could have got it from the factory, from the showroom floor, looking this good, besides maybe some aftermarket wheels. Gorgeous car. They made it right back in the day. Nissan, if you ever watch this video, you probably won't. So bring the Sylvia back and don't botch it. But I love how much you don't have to do to make this thing a beautiful car. It starts out beautiful, stays beautiful. And there it is, lean, mean, and green. Only saying that because I know Jason hates the green on the engine bay, but we're working on getting rid of it. So this is an SR20 DET, single turbo, dual overhead cam. This one's a little cooler because it does have variable timing and a little bit better of a valve cover for, you know, baffling, breathing, all that good stuff. These things, factory, making around 300 horsepower. The earlier models a little bit less. This one's just a little bit more stout of a motor, bigger turbo on this than the earlier models. He's got a lot of cool add-ons with this car. We got a Blitz intake, coil rad, radiator, cool little sticker for the fuse box from Yoshio factory. It has aftermarket Greddy intercooler, so that's always good to have too, because the factory ones are kind of trash. Very cool engine to have, because they're very reliable as long as you don't ask that much of them. Like I said, makes around 300 horsepower. If you're cool with that, that's great. Once you start pushing things above like 350, you get a little scary, a little bit less reliable. But you're seeing a lot of factory stuff going on here. You got an ABS module, you got boosted brakes. He does have this cool little strut bar right here from Nismo. That's really nice to add to these cars, so you have a little bit more front rigidity when you're driving it. Just really cool stuff. It's still got his windshield wiper fluid bottle and all that stuff, overflow tank. Really nice factory setup. And this is what you can expect from one from the showroom. So a little bit different than what I got going on over here, but behind the motor, we have a brand new clutch from ACT that we just put in this thing. It was kind of a pain in the butt because we did it on our back. But yeah, super stoked to have the ACT in there. And we've been using it on my car, you know, a different model for years, and it's the best. So I told Jason right away, when we need a new clutch, let's put an ACT in there. Behind that clutch is a 6-speed manual transmission, a little bit different. S15 Spec R came with a 6-speed instead of most SRs that I've ever dealt with, 5-speed, like my own. Behind that, 2-piece drive shaft, not the best thing in the world. Single piece is usually really cool once you're, you know, modifying things, but for the power and for what you need, it's perfectly fine. And then it's got a factory LSD diff in the back. I don't know the ratio. If you guys know the ratio of the factory Spec R diff, let me know down below. I've never dealt with one of those before, but just a really good setup, super clean. This thing's running really awesome. I do love SR20s, and in the future, if I could ever own an SR20 car again, I probably would. But let's break away from this and let's show you what I got going on in my engine bay. So my car, the hood's a little bit different. So we have this beautiful stick that I bring around with me because it's my hood prop. And then we don't have a latch because we have arrow catch latches. So pop those up and woo, that is definitely not an SR20, baby. So as you can see, a little bit different of an engine package going on up here. This is my 2JZ VVTi. This is stock displacement, so it's still 3.0. Completely forged, built top to bottom. This is a dry sump motor. For those of you that don't know what that is, that just means the oil sump that holds the oil is outside of the engine instead of under the engine. So with that, we get a lot more fluid in the system. It does such a better job oiling down the engine and makes the longevity of the motor just run way longer and way more reliable. Along with the Pennzoil that we put in there, helps out a lot. So this thing is pretty much just completely custom top to bottom. So it's a little bit crazy. We got an engine plate on the motor that's holding it to the chassis. You see right up front, we got our aftermarket intercooler. And also, you're also noticing a lot of that factory metal that we saw in Jason's car is gone. So the car from front of the strut towers forward is pretty much chopped out and replaced with all just structural tubing and bracing. Again, like I was saying, we get rid of all that stuff because this is more serviceable. If we crash this, we can replace it. We're not trying to fix, you know, stock sheet metal. So Plasma Man intake manifold. We have direct port nitrous on this engine. We do that to try and keep up with all the V8s in FD with all that crazy torque. Direct port nitrous definitely helps us a lot with that. We usually just spray it on the low end, helps spool the turbo, and then once the turbo takes over, no more nitrous. We're just running all the power off that turbo. So this thing's pretty crazy, and I could talk about it for days. Billet valve covers, GTR R35 coilover packs. We got a Garrett G35 1050. This engine can definitely produce at least 1,000 horsepower. We don't run it that high often, but sometimes when the track calls for it, turn it up. Got a lot of crazy stuff going on in here. We got a lot of sensors, got our boost controller, got even a canister right here that's for the back pressure sensor for the turbo. A lot of lines and wiring. It's a whole mil-spec wiring harness for the engine. That makes it super super durable, very reliable, and basically this wiring harness can outlive the car pretty much as long as it doesn't go on fire, knock on wood. Compared to Jason's car, who's got a lot of reservoirs in the front, you know, you got a lot of canisters holding a bunch of different fluids. The only fluids we're really holding on to in here is just our power steering fluids towards the back right there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We try to move as much stuff out of the front because this engine, unfortunately, is a boat anchor. It's super heavy. And the one thing I know that you're saying to yourself, if you don't know much about drift cars, is where the heck is the radiator? And we'll get to that shortly, but it's not up front anymore because once you have this engine in here that, you know, is super heavy, it's not a 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, we got to move stuff around to keep the weight balance a little bit better. So, or anything else you think I missed about the engine that people want to know about? It's 2J, man. It's pretty sick. 1,000 horsepower, like I said, makes all the cool noises. Yeah, that's definitely it. So behind the engine, same thing, ACT clutch, but ours is a little bit different. It's a triple disc clutch, holds up to 1,000 horsepower, maybe even a little bit more. Behind that, we have a 4-speed dog box transmission. It's basically the transmission that came off of the old Cup cars and NASCAR. Super durable, must have in professional drifting or competitive drifting. Having a dog box is super important because, yet again, we're making so much power up here that we want to make sure that it goes all the way down the drive line with no issues. So having a dog box, super important, along with that super strong clutch. The drive shaft is a little bit different on ours compared to Jason's. It's a single piece drive shaft. It's made of aluminum. It's 3.5 inches in diameter. Super strong, very stout. It's the original drive shaft. I've had zero issues with it ever since we built this car with MA Motorsports back in 2020. Behind the drive shaft, going all the way to the back, we have a custom subframe holding in our Winters quick change. So let's go to the back a little bit here. So in the back for the drivetrain, we have our Winters quick change from MA Motorsports. This is another huge piece that you need in a competitive drift car, or, you know, as you start going up to either, you know, pro spec, even a lot of pro-am guys are using it now. Quick change rear ends are super important because the main reason why you want them is to have the availability to change the gear ratio for your final drive on the fly. So every track that we go to, we use these gear ratios to set the wheel speed of the car for every track, any turn. It's a must have. And it also, the little panel right in the back comes right off. You could change the gear ratio in this differential in under 5 minutes. It's one of the greatest things that's ever happened at drifting. and couldn't thank MMA Motorsports and Winters for helping us get that. As far as the drivetrain goes, the one thing I didn't talk about Jason's car for the drivetrain is the axles. So it's got factory S chassis axles, pretty stout. I mean, they did well when I was drifting with the SR20, but when we come over to this thing, we have some super stout 1,000 horsepower axles, I believe from Drive Shaft Shop. They've always done well for me. I think I've only broke one once, and that's because I was a doofus and I let go of the clutch while my hand was still on the handbrake. So don't do that. But yeah, that's pretty much the drivetrain. A little bit different. Again, I know I'm kind of glancing over a couple of details that I'm sure you guys are seeing on video. So again, if you got questions, down below. All right, guys. So let's get into a little bit of suspension here and kind of what's going on in the wheel area. So Jason's car, right away, like I said, 18-inch wheels, nice little upgraded tires. His car did actually come with some upgraded rotors, which was cool of the old owner to do. And again, we're back with the green on his 4-piston Nissan calipers. A lot of stopping power from this S15 stock. So that's really awesome. Really good stuff. He's got some aftermarket single-way adjustable coilovers. We didn't even know what brand it was, but they look brand new. So that's really cool. And he said it rides good. So hey, what more could you ask for? As far as steering angle, kind of where you're seeing here is, you know, this factory angle, man. It's enough to go drive around in town and have fun. You can do a couple donuts in this thing, no problem. Not much suspension work going on in here. He doesn't really need any aftermarket stuff. You could always do it if you wanted to, but again, it's a perfect car, came great from factory. But as we come over to this side, this is where things start getting a little bit crazy, and this is what you kind of expect from a professional drift car. This wheel is, I'm pretty sure you can probably see the back of it. Got our 18-inch wheels up front with a nice big chunky tire on there. You see a lot of rubber from old tracks, and yeah, that's just, you know, it's the nature of the beast. Right away, I'm sure you guys are noticing the high amount of angle that we have up here, and that's thanks to our WiseFab steering lock kit. This is actually on the highest bump setting for locking out the angle, so we could actually get a little bit more angle than this, but I don't really use it that much. When you use that much angle, the car actually slows down a lot, and there's only so many tracks where we get to use that many angle. So having it on the highest lockout setting is fine with me. But using the WiseFab steering lock kit for pretty much a few years now, and it's always been awesome. We have 3-way adjustable coilovers with aftermarket Swift springs, dialing in the suspension stiffness that we need. It's a little bit stiffer up here compared to Jason's car because, again, our S15 has the 2J and it's pretty heavy. Also, I'm sure he's got a factory sway bar on it, but we have a aftermarket like multi-link sway bar setup similar to what you see in oval track or, you know, just any form of grip racing. It's just an aftermarket custom, completely built by the guys at MMA Motorsports to give us a nice sway bar that's nice and heavy, again, for the boat anchor of a motor of the 2J. So pretty good. And as far as my brakes go, we use Willwood 6-piston calipers with rotors and hats that are set up for specifically our car. The one thing I will say is we do use a rotor that is literally like a 1/4 inch thick. It's kind of crazy. We use them, they're lightweight, the stopping power is still there, and it does its job. So that's what we're getting from the suspension on the S15. I also have, you know, some like power bracing and stuff that's added to the car just for a little bit more rigidity. Just pretty much everything on this thing aftermarket. Now, I'm not even really gonna go over to Jason's car and show you what's going on back there, because I mean, you could just Google like factory rear suspension setup on an S15. But it's factory subframe, those aftermarket coilovers that we talked about. He's got those upgraded rotors, same wheels and tires as the front. So, and these guys exhaust sticking out back there. So, back of my car, a little bit different. The whole back of the car again has been lobbed off. It's all just aftermarket and tube structure stuff. As you can see right here, right off the bat, we got some crash bars. So those are really good to have. Definitely need those, and you can see that they've gotten their fair use. Like I was saying, these things come in handy. As you can tell, they've been used. They've hit plenty of walls. Definitely really good to have. Need those. As far as rear suspension, again, WiseFab, they make a really good rear kit for being super adjustable. We have all the adjustability to be able to change our toe, our caster, toe gain, you know, the squat of the car, and just like put a really aggressive setup in it for grip, because believe it or not, drift cars have a lot of grip. We just overpower it with horsepower. Three-way adjustable coilovers. Again, we have another custom multi-link sway bar in the back. It's kind of like just a huge bar that goes across the back, and it's got two blades that come off the side, and then there's just a little Heim joint arm thing going on connecting the lower portion of the knuckle to that sway bar. And also, again, you see our beautiful Winners MA Motorsports diff along with our Optima Red Top battery that we have back here. I actually just took another battery out of here because we usually run 2 batteries, and that goes back on that weight balance thing that I was telling you guys about. So sometimes we try to put a bunch of weight in the back because the front's super heavy, but the car was too heavy in my eyes for Pro Spec, so I decided to lighten it up and try it with a little bit less weight back here. Now that you guys have seen back here, I mean, anything else I got to talk about? I mean, the subframe is completely custom because that is not the diff that comes in an S15, so you got to chop it up. The guys over at MA Motorsports, they do a beautiful job. If you want a plug-and-play setup, definitely hit them up. And we're going to jump up a little bit so I can open up the trunk and show you what else is going on back here. So before I open this really quick, Jason, look at this. So that is the port in which you fill up the car for gas. This right here is the port in which we fill up the car with gas. And then if you look right behind it, there's a giant fuel cell. So obviously, aftermarket fuel cell, we have a Radium FCST. This is one of their more updated models, not the brand new one, but it is super kick-ass. There's multiple fuel pumps in here, so it can support the horsepower that we need, or the fuel delivery that we need for the horsepower. Also, Jason's car runs on 91 out here in California. My car runs on Ignite Red. It's a mix of racing fuel and like an E90 blend of ethanol. So pretty crazy stuff, smells amazing. All right, I found that radiator that you guys were worrying about. Right here, this is our rear mounted radiator. Got 2 giant Spall fans, because I will tell you, the one thing that is super important when it comes to JZ cars is making sure they have a good cooling system, because they do love to get hot, especially with the amount of abuse that we put them through in professional drifting. So you can see that's why the rear glass is cut up, because we need that air to come through here, through the radiator, and cool off. And that's actually why also there's a bunch of holes in this trunk, because we want all that heat to be able to escape, along with all that smoke and all that tire rubber. So as you can see, back here does get a little bit dirty just from everything being cut away. There's no factory metal here anymore, so all that tire smoke and tire rubber gets stuck to everything back here. Got a reservoir tank. This is our expansion tank for the radiator, made by Radium. Really good stuff. You can also see our basic crash structure that we have back here, again, just from the top. Multiple bash bars. This is the sway bar that I was telling you guys about. And then we have these uprights right here because, again, I was telling you, there's no factory metal here from this point on. So we need this to keep the car rigid. And luckily, these are actually really soft too. So when we do hit the wall, they bend. And then if I have to fix them, I could literally just hop in there and bend it back with my hands. So really smart design. This whole car and chassis were built by MA Motorsports Maryland. I actually picked a perfect sweatshirt for this video today. But they actually posted a lot of stuff of building this car, so if you ever want to check that out, definitely go do so. It's a marvel. This car is awesome. I've crashed it multiple times. It's still in good shape. We're gonna get ready for another season. There's only one more thing that we have to go over between the 2 cars, and that's interior. So let's do that. All right, now we're in Jason's car, and I gotta say it's pretty awesome. A lot of creature comforts going on in here. Very plush, cozy, awesome. I mean, right off the bat, it's factory interior. It looks gorgeous. They made these things really sick from factory. dashboard and all looks really good. It does have an aftermarket display, just a radio, aftermarket radio, touchscreen. Nice. He's got aftermarket little shift knob, got a drift button on here, aftermarket steering wheel with the quick release. The seats are also aftermarket. They look like Recaros, but we don't think they're Recaros. But just a gorgeous interior, super just unmolested, just wonderful, super clean. I do really miss having an S15 to drive on the street. I used to have a really awesome blue S15 back in the day that had a full interior, and it was really awesome. So the S15s actually come with back seats. I don't know why, maybe it was an insurance thing, but there's back seats in here, you can't use them. No one's gonna fit in the back seat of this thing. But dude, I don't know. But really awesome, very clean interior. Nissan did it right with this thing. It's definitely gorgeous, and it just screams nostalgia. But at the same time, it's like still like new age enough that is just very, very clean. And the interior of my car is definitely different. So let's show you guys. All right, now we're in my office, my favorite place in the world. This is the inside of my S15, and as you can tell, it is much different than Jason's. So right off the bat, full roll cage going through the whole car because we need to be safe, and also it makes the car really nice and rigid and just makes it much more strong. Aftermarket steering wheel, just like Jason's car with a quick release. The only difference is that the steering column is aftermarket, and honestly, I don't know why I didn't say this first, but I'm sure you guys are picking up on the fact that I'm on the left side of the car right now. So yes, what we did do is we converted an S15, which is right-hand drive, to left-hand drive. The reason why is because my car before this was an S13, it's left-hand drive. When we built this car, I'm like, I'm not gonna relearn how to drive just because the S15 is on the right side. So we moved everything over here, and the way that we did that was with this aftermarket steering column, and we have an aftermarket floor-mounted pedal box from Tilted. So along with that, you see our little heads-up display here. This is a Motec C125 display dash, and we have a beautiful carbon fiber dashboard that's made by a company over in Russia called Monster Service. It's a perfect shape of the original S15 one, but it's carbon fiber, super lightweight, easy to get in and out when we got to work on stuff. At our passenger side, there's not much space because we have a room that's sealed off for our dry sump tank. So that takes up a lot of foot space. So you do kind of have to be a little bit smaller than me to fit comfortably in this car as a passenger. What else we got going on? We got our little panel up here on the roof. This is where all my keys are to control the car, start it, go through any of the maps, turn on the nitrous, turn off the nitrous, all this other good stuff. Along with that, we do have a controller for our chill out system. So Jason's car does have AC, this one obviously doesn't. And my creature comfort is having a chill out system that runs cold water through the shirt that I wear when I'm wearing my race suit. I'm in the car getting ready to drive. Along with that, I have a fresh air pump that pumps air into my helmet so I can just breathe a little bit better, and it gives me a little bit of breeze and keeps my head cool. I have our HGK handbrake. This is a super cool piece. I really love it. Works really well. Never had any issues with it. A little custom shifter that we made for the top of our dog box here. Has to be really stout, made out of some really strong material, because when we shift these things, we shift them like we're trying to break them, and I have bent a shifter before. Maybe one day I'll show you guys. The whole interior is dripped out in OMP safety gear. We got OMP full racing seats. These are halo seats, so they have support for the side of your head if you're ever in a crash to make sure you're nice and safe, along with OMP's 6-point harnesses. What else we got going on back here? We also have our fire system that's built into the interior and in the interior of the engine bay and the back of the car over the fuel cell. So I have nozzles all around the car, so if there ever was a fire, we just pull this little valve right here and it'd spray everything down. Also have my nitrous bottle back there next to that stuff. Again, trying to move weight and make sure that the balance of the car is good, so that's why the nitrous bottle is on the passenger side. Try to keep weight on the right side of the car since I sit on the left, trying to displace the weight of me and my fat butt. A lot of wiring going on in here. A lot of that mil-spec wiring that I was telling you guys about. But yes, this is my absolute favorite place in the world, is being behind the wheel of this car. It's definitely very different than a street S15. I mean, hell, I don't even have door handles. I have little pull tabs for cable to get out. So it's very different, but a very cool car, and I love it very much. And to be honest with you guys, I don't think there's much else I can show you. But again, I tell you again, for the 5th time, if there's anything that I missed, just leave a comment below and I'll answer it or show you a picture. All right, guys, and now that is a wrap for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, seeing the difference between a street S15 and a professional drift S15, and there's a lot of differences. And if you guys want to see more of my S15, don't worry, there's going to be a lot more content coming soon. We're going to tear into this thing and get it ready for the season. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel so you can see when the new videos are coming out. You'll be informed, ready to go watching them. Make sure you also leave a like and a comment. Like I said, I love seeing the support from you guys. And also, if you have any questions, I do love answering them. But that's it. That's all I got for this video. But I was thinking it would be nice to send you guys out with one of the best things I think we could do, and that is a sound comparison from both of these cars. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.